The alternative media has failed. Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Surfers. A lot of distractions going on in the world right now. David Icke would refer to it as the mainstream alternative media. Yes, there's a lot of serious events going on, but as far as I'm concerned, the majority of it is a mind virus. Cul-de-sacs, mental cul-de-sacs, designed to create a mental cage which doesn't lead anywhere. Why would we have an alternative media which is not addressing the causal factors of true freedom and the objective truth? We have all of these people which were mainstream media, which are now the mainstream alternative media. And then we have what people think is the alternative media, which is conspiratainment for the most part. Why is no one talking about objective morality? Why is no one talking about the governing dynamics of the laws of nature? Why are people not sharing a message of changing the way we think, standing in our own authority, and taking actions in alignment with natural law? Well, it's pretty easy. For the most part, no one wants to hear it. This field is very unpopular. Be more moral, bro. Not very helpful. All of the funding mechanisms, the algorithms, the dopamine hits, the clickbait, click-through rate stuff. We're all guilty of this in some way. Every content creator wants more exposure for the most part. There's a higher point, there's a deeper meaning to all of this. I would think that if we're really focused on the truth, then people would be sharing it. So why is there such a lack of truth in the truth movement, in the sovereignty movement, in the anarchy movement, in the alternative media movement? It's boring and not fun. I can see that perspective. But we have an extreme amount of tyranny unfolding. And I recently found a fellow Aussie that popped up in my feed, a guy called Tom Barnett from the Humble Kingdom. I don't know him. I haven't seen much of his content. But the part I did see was about how Australia is the testing ground for what's rolling out, for managing perception, seeing how much pushback before they roll it out in the rest of the world. One of the things going on right now is the under 16 social media bill. Save the children. Of course, someone's please think of the children, the Simpsons style. It's always the way. But the language that they're using is the first domino. It's also an energetic thing because the songlines begin right where I live. This is why they start here, because they're dark occultists. Also, because for the most part, and this is also what Tom Barnett said, happy-go-lucky just leave me, just quite passive here until Aussies are really pressed and it's really bad, then they might do something. But for the most part, quite a subservient culture from what I've experienced. One of the worst hit areas during COVID. And you can see the previous episode about the guns that taken in Port Arthur. So as far as from what I can see, and I spend quite a lot of time studying, learning, educating myself on natural law. I'm growing. I'm not right about everything. I'm wrong about a lot. I'm trying really hard to improve myself. I'm trying really hard to learn more, to be able to share more about natural law. I'm new to getting myself out there. It's taken me 10 years to get started here. I'll get better. I know that the graphics and style here is not great, and I'll keep chipping away at it over time. I know I need to improve it. I can get stuck sometimes in my thought processes. But the tyranny is unfolding rapidly. And the way that the media is controlled is deliberate, because if they control the flow of information, they can control how the masses think. And they don't have access to true information, they're going to transgress against natural law because they don't know any better. So they can censor, shut down platforms. Platforms aren't the answer. I've done a significant amount of legal work figuring this out. Self-hosting, agent-centric computing. It's a next level personal responsibility to set things up, because all platforms are going to be censored. It's not. I've already figured out that mind virus, that cul-de-sac. There's no way to play that game. I worked with one of the guys that created the GDPR compliance in the UK. Data. There's no platform's gonna be censorship proof. Terms of service get you trapped in that legal system. And we self-censor for a number of reasons. More clicks, more views, but also because the truth is radical. We need, as Mark Passio would say, that two mistakes we can make are not starting and not going all the way. And as this unfolds, the challenges arise, pushback. Whether it's societal, governmental, familial. But I'm doing this because I do care. And it's very easy to see. I mean, everyone knows it, right? Like, we all know it. Like, it's not that hard to see. Done quite a lot of study in recent years around the quantum phenomena, quantum computing, and AI is going to take that to the next level. And once that's powered by a neutonic fusion, things are going to get wacky and wild real quick. So being able to discern the objective truth is something that we're all going to have to come to terms with real quick. Real quick. 3 to 5 years max. This technology's already been around for a long time, decades, many decades, but I'm not a doomer in any way. You know, we can win. I'm not a part of Team Loser, even though right now we're losing for sure. Spiritual war, mental war. Everyone's stuck in this mind cage, mind virus, cul-de-sacs, just endless dead ends. Endless dead ends. Cul-de-sacs of the mind cage. And, you know, I'm no different. I've been trapped there previously for a long time. I'm still coming out of it. You know, plants like iboga helped me a lot, clearing out some of those thought loops. Specifically, the iboga helped me with that. But it is a long process. It's very hard as well. A lot of work. And, you know, whatever tool you want to choose, whatever modality, but, you know, mine has been plant medicine in the shamanic world. A lot of purging and a lot of integration. For the most part, I spent these last years integrating, you know, being on country and not doing a whole lot of medicine outside of, you know, some medicine, some acacia, and, you know, mixed with Syrian rue in brew. But, you know, working with tinctures and non-psychedelic medicines like, you know, Amanita muscaria or hawthorn, blue lily. But the alternative media has really failed us. Yes, there's people that are good, and yes, we can cultivate, you know, reading lists similar to RSS, and I think distributed RSS, and even though technically it's somewhat, you know, RSS is, you know, not necessarily centralized or anything, but one of the things that I'm honing in on at the moment is, you know, the power of someone that you know is onto it, being able to refer you to people that they know that is onto it. That exchanges gold. You know, similar to, you know, how I recently came across Kevin Trudeau and shared that with you all. You know, similar to how I'll refer you to Mark Passio and whatonearthishappening.com, and starting from the very beginning. And it's a long body of work. It's not easy. You know, the episodes are 3 hours. You know, there's a lot of you know, it's not all, you know, you can skip past, you know, the first 10-15 minutes or whatever. But right now I'm up to, yeah, I'm learning. I'm up to episode 201 or something of around 300. But, and it's, you know, it is a blanket statement, but it's also, you know, I know there's nuance to it, but, you know, the controlled opposition of the alternative media is rough. You know, there's no one, and, you know, it sounds like you think that you think you know the truth, you think you've got the one way, you think that because no one's talking about objective morality that, you know, it's all bullshit. Well, it's one of the things that I've learned is about solipsism, which is this thought that no one can really truly know, and that's bullshit. We can know. We can know the objective truth. And the objective truth are that there are immutable objective laws of nature, and that we can align ourselves with them. And when we're in that co-creative capacity, things start to unfold in alignment and start opening up. And that's been my direct experience before I ever knew about it. I was doing that from what I learned from the plants and communing and having relationships and following that, and extraordinary things were happening in my life. That's how I came to be on this land, to be a custodian. Caterpillar dreaming. It's a huge responsibility and it's a privilege. But I also know the other side of it, because I was comfortable and I wasn't speaking out and I was acting. I still am in some ways. It's a big body of work. It takes a lot of shadow work and a lot of work to do this. I'm not fully integrated yet. I'm not fully awake yet. I'm not fully moral yet. But I'm working on it. I'm chipping away. And we can all do that. But this media seems to think that because, we're talking about UFOs or, the agenda, we do need to have true sources. We do need to go through that information gathering stage as part of the trivium process. Another thing that I learned through this, I didn't know about the trivium before. I'll put my hand up and say I didn't know. It's not the kind of thing that I studied before. I studied natural law, LORE. I came across natural law, LAW, and I watched, early on, I don't know when it was maybe 2016 or something. I came across this body of work. And because I knew and was studying natural law, LORE, and I'm a proponent of that, and that's why I use that terminology still. But I didn't know the body of work, and I was wrong. I was like, oh, fuck that LOW man's law system. Mike Passio doesn't know about LORE. Which he, in some ways, it's not justice, but it's oral wisdom through story and mythology. The indigenous peoples of the world sing it up through relationship with nature. And it's transmitted through protocol. It's not written down. And then you have a version of that which is specifically star law, LORE, and as above, so below, which he would term astrotheology. But that world's full of trauma as well. We've all got trauma. We've all, we shared that watch along last night. The way that we've all, have our psyche split through trauma or fractured. But until we start stopping transgressions against natural law and start living in accordance with it, these negative consequences will continue to happen through cause and effect. That's why we learn those 7 hermetic principles encapsulated by the principle of care. It's not dogma or ideology. It's the truth of how it actually is. Because we can learn this. You can learn this. And we're all in this together. And I know that when I started this, I can see how it's easy to dismiss. I know people that, you think you're on the path with, and they don't even look at it and they go, okay, bro. And even when I watched the Natural Law series early on, I still had a reaction to it, and I still didn't take it all in. I was like, that guy doesn't really know LORE, because what I now know is he was describing it in the negative, in the apophatic, by saying what things are not, so you know what is, which is the real way to do that. And I've since learned that that's through a legal friend, exceptional legal friend, that's also true. But at the time, I was probably a bit new agey, I guess, in retrospect. No, he's focusing on the negative. What you focus on grows. He doesn't understand, true magic or cosmic shamanism or whatever phrase I was thinking about. And it can seem like dangerous even. So radical. It's like, calm down, bro. But that righteous anger, that rage, we should be angry about the state of the world. I mean, don't you see it? We are living in those times, in our lifetime. Like, this is a thing of novels. This is a thing of mythology. It's going down in our lifetime. You better be ready. You better be ready. And you better do something about it. That's why I'm doing this. But the alternative media is fucked. And I know that's easy to say that, oh yeah, it's all shit, everyone else is stupid. They don't know shit. But it's a circus out there. It's a circus. Commentary on podcasters and infighting and, who cares, man? I know that there's serious events. I don't mean to minimize it. But even the people that are pushing real stuff, people really speaking out about mind control technology and quantum technology and the digital control grid, they're still shoving religious dogma down your throat, Christian stuff. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic schools. I declare that. I've got family that's still all about it. I've got family that's still trying, like, oh, it'd be good for you to have a framework of morals or whatever. It's like, yeah, I need framework of morals. That's what I need. Okay. But, you have these UFO disclosure people. You have, you have the people revealing the stuff about technocracy and transhumanism. You have people revealing 0-point energy. And none of them are talking about the laws of nature, objective reality, and objective morality. And I can see how this comes across as one-way thinking or limited thinking, or, you're this, like, clinging on to one thing. But the way that reality works objectively is that there's a formula. There are conditions and requirements that need to be met for freedom to be on Earth. And we all ask for freedom, but we're not meeting those requirements. And I can also see how it's like, oh yeah, just be more moral, bro. What does it even mean? It means knowing what is right and what is wrong, and changing our thoughts if we are transgressing against what is right. So once we can change how we think, we can act in accordance with it. And that's not religious. This ain't some cult. This isn't religious dogma. This isn't my belief system. This is the truth. And it sounds like such a dickhead thing too. Oh, the truth movement. One of the last things I wanted to do was to be a truther. I've always looked at this stuff and been like, absolute fuckwits, mate. I'm just not interested in the truth of stuff. Because it's so infiltrated with bullshit. The people that scream the loudest about knowing the truth and sharing the truth and got heaps of followers and all of that, just as far as I'm concerned, aren't sharing the truth, aren't integrated, all of that stuff. And so now we have this, kind of, everyone's been pushed into being online now, of course, which is a great medium of communication. But it's been shut down and censored, has been for a long time. Yes, we know about DARPA creating it, all that stuff. Yes, we need to create alternative systems. Yes, I'm doing that. But what I'm talking about is like it's the same shit, different color, for the most part. And yeah, people in the freedom and truth movement aren't sharing freedom and truth. Scary to talk about morality, huh? And so, one of the things that came up for me in that video, the watch along last night, and I know I didn't talk a whole lot, it's about bloodlines and ancestry. In indigenous traditions, I'm not indigenous, but I said we then, but in indigenous traditions, they think in 7 generations. And at least as far as I know, the 3 that I know, I'm the 3rd, because I know my father and his father, gambling addicts, alcoholics. And I got into the gambling industry. I moved out of home at 15. By the time I was 18, full-blown gambling addict and alcoholic. And then I got into the gambling industry. One of the reasons why I exited it was to end that male lineage of that kind of energy. So that's my way of doing that cosmic shamanism stuff through guidance from plant medicine world. And I'm bringing that up because today is the birthday of my father who passed away. He was 55 when he died. Very hard worker. Taught me a lot, but also very troubled. I won't go into it too much, but you can imagine what I'd term the death urge. And of course there's grief there. And so that's one of the reasons why I brought up grief rituals in a previous video. Because that's one of the things that can hold us back, unprocessed trauma and grief. And it's something that's really underestimated. And I really implore you to go look at the work of Martine Prechtel. I think the book is called The Smell of Rain on Dust, or something like that. Dust on Rain or something like that. Let's look it up. But I guess I'm mentioning that in a way, because we can come out of this. We can live in a more objectively moral way. We can live in alignment with the laws of nature. Until we all start doing it and speaking out truth against evil, the condition that we find ourselves in is going to continue. Because these are the immutable laws of nature. Humans are programmable. The environment we find ourselves in is what materializes. So we need to change the conditions, the way we think, to get a different outcome. If we keep doing the same thing, we are going to be further enslaved. It's, again, not black-pilled. It's not that hard to see. It's not that hard to see the direction that the world is going. So I just got back from my morning walk. And I believe in humanity. I believe we can get through this, but right now, the objective reality is that we're losing. We're losing the spiritual warfare. We're losing on every level. We need more people to speak out. So if you want to know more about that, go to howtobecomthetruemedia.com if you need to learn the skills to do what I'm doing. Go to whatonearthishappening.com and start at episode 1. And as all, there's nothing new under the sun. You're not going to, again, I know that's a phrase from Mark Cassio, but there's going to be no new information that you find from me here. These are eternal truths. It's not glitzy and glamorous. The message is always going to be the same, that we have to go within, that we have to change ourselves, we have to change our actions, and we have to stop doing what is creating the condition of slavery so we can have true freedom. That's what I have to shift now. We can do this if we can have real care. Agape love. Much love. Thank you so much. Bye for now. This is Cosmic Surfers.